Now for the big one, the final round of the 500cc British Championship, with Australian Wayne Gardner the hot favourite to win on his three-cylinder Honda Works machine. There's Gardner, 25 years old from Wollongong, and he's already won the British Formula One Championship from his Honda teammate Roger Marshall. How does he see things?
Well, obviously the Formula One British Championship this year, Wayne's won every round and obviously deserves to win the British one, and in the World one, I just missed out in Belgium winning the last round to Joey Dunlop. So today we've got the 500 British Championship, so I've won that for the last 2 years, and Wayne has just missed out both times, and I think the luck's gone for him a bit this year. I fell off at Snetterton, and then I had to go to Belgium when it clashed with Cadwell, so it's put me out of it. But I'm going to go for a win today, and you know, at least it'll give me something back anyway.
Another top man is Rob McElhenney on the new Heron Suzuki.
Well, we started the first race for it was at Silverstone, and it had been already developed by another rider. It was my first ride on it, and we finished 7th on it, and ever since then we've got Grand Prix points. The bike's going better than what any of us expected, you know. We're really pleased with it.
But can he win on it today?
Well, we're struggling a little bit with the horsepower. We need a new engine, really. If the weather brightens up a little bit, I think we'll be able to give him a good run.
There's Australian Paul Lewis. Number 23 is David Griffith, who's 3rd in the championship. And the evergreen multiple TT winner, Mick Grant. Number 8, Wayne Gardner. 3 wins out of 4 races so far. Roger Marshall from Rugby, ex-Suzuki Works rider. And on the grid, Rob McElhenney from Brigg with the Heron Suzuki experimental bike. He's the man who's really going to challenge Wayne Gardner the most with Roger Marshall, no doubt about that. It's a push start, it's 12 laps, it's 26 miles, a super start by Rob McElhenney, but an even better one from Mick Grant into Old Hall. From Old Hall to Cascades, the left-hander. And at Cascades, as the tail-enders sweep away, it's McElhenney leading, and Gary Lingham is there on the right. From Cascades up to Island Bend. It's the distinctive red helmet of Rob McElhenney. Paul Lewis is 2nd, Marshall's 3rd, Lingham's 4th, and Mick Grant is in 5th place. Really winding it up. Over the crest, down to Knickerbrook. McElhenney, Lewis, Lingham, Marshall. Parrish is 2nd in the championship. Gardner leads it, and McElhenney leads the race. Into Druids for the first time. Druids, the right-hander, very quick indeed, very spectacular. It's McElhenney, then it's Paul Lewis, the mighty Ant, the little Australian. Then 4 absolutely together, down to Lodge. McElhenney broke his leg in the French Grand Prix this year. He's recovered magnificently. He's got all his old form back. And at Old Hall Corner, he's leading with Lewis in 2nd position. Round Old Hall, down to Cascades on another lap, up to Island Bend. McElhenney has now got Lewis right in his wheel tracks, 1st and 2nd. 24-year-old Rob McElhenney, 24-year-old Paul Lewis. It's 110 miles an hour as they go down and then up to Clay Hill. Suzuki, the leader, Rob McElhenney. From Brigg, the Humberside man, fully recovered from that leg injury. And at Druids, it's McElhenney and Lewis virtually together. Who's in 3rd position? It's Marshall, and Gardner is up into 4th place. And at Lodge, it's McElhenney, Lewis, Marshall, Gardner, Lingham and Grant. Wonderful racing on these 500cc machines. No change in the positions as they go round Old Hall Corner. Cascades to Island. And Paul Lewis is challenging and goes through. The Australian's through and into the lead, but he runs wide and McElhenney takes it back. Now, is Paul Lewis going to lose 2nd place? Because he's got Marshall and Gardner right with him. Grant and Lingham behind in 5th and 6th places. And all credit to a little Australian, because he has not got a works machine, he has not got a works engine, and he's there in 2nd place ahead of people who have, including Wayne Gardner. So Rob McElney leading and looking as though he's going to spoil Gardner's superb record. Out of Druids goes the tough and burly Englishman down to Lodge. And Rob McElney looking absolutely relaxed, leads, and Gardner is second. Wayne Gardner started his charge now. He's up into second place. He's ahead of Paul Lewis. Wayne Gardner is on his way. He needs to make it 4 out of 5 wins. And at Cascades, Rob McElney is leading by 1 second. There's Gardner, Lewis third. Marshall is in 4th position. Grant is 5th. Round Island. Look at the very distinctive style of Wayne Gardner, second there. The little Australian crouched forward over the tank of his machine, and he's definitely closing on the leader, Rob McElney. The Honda 3-cylinder 500 is catching the Suzuki 4, but the Honda is a full works machine with the latest works engine, whereas Rob McElney's Suzuki, although it's got a brand new frame, and there's McElney, has got a last year's works engine, and that could make all the difference in the end. So, Lodge corner again, and there is Gardner. Where is McElney? There is the leader, and Marshall is third. Roger Marshall is through into 3rd place ahead of Paul Lewis. Mick Grant is still in 5th place. There's the Englishman. And there's the leader. But Wayne Gardner, with Roger Marshall, his teammate, behind him in 3rd position, is in absolutely superb form this season, and my money's on the Australian, Cascades. There's no change there. Up to Island Bend. And McElney and Gardner are virtually together as they go into the tight right-hander. Accelerate away out of it with 1, 2, 3 machines tight up behind them. Roger Marshall there with the white star on his helmet. Paul Lewis doing a wheelie as he goes over the crest into Knickerbook and Clay Hill. It's McElney and Gardner together. It's Marshall, it's Lewis, and it's Grant. The 3rd, 4th and 5th absolutely together as they go now up to Druids again. McElney, Gardner. And this is where Wayne Gardner can challenge. He's got the speed now to close right up with Rob McElney. And as they go into Lodge corner, he's overlapping the Suzuki. He ducks through on the inside into Deer Leap, and Gardner leads. Wayne Gardner is in the lead of the last round of the British Championship here at Alton Park into Old Hall. 3rd gear, 90 miles an hour. Number 8 wheelies away. Looks over his shoulder. Incredible the way they do that. Wayne Gardner literally looks over his shoulder and he sees Rob McElney behind him, and McElney's likely to stay there because Gardner goes into Island Bend now in the lead, and he's starting to close up on tail enders. He's soon going to lap Neil Stobbart, who's ahead of him, as he goes down into Clay Hill. And there's Stobbart. He's going to be passed first of all by Wayne Gardner, now by McElney, soon by Roger Marshall. Up Clay Hill again. And there's Gardner. It's going to be 4 wins in 5 races because he's leaving Rob McElney now, having won the Formula One Championship, having been enormously successful in Grand Prix races this year on his non-full works machine. Wayne Gardner wins the race and the championship from McElney, Marshall, Lewis, Grant and Lingham. Slows down, sits up, looks over his shoulder. There's McElney, there's Marshall behind him, back into the pits. And there are the new and the old champions together.
British champion to British champion, ex-British champion.
Yes, and Wayne Gardner has put it across the ponds.
I finally did it. Like I said, it's 3rd year proved it, and I've been trying for the previous 2 years. I nearly did it the first year in '82 when I first rode for Honda. I was so close, yet so far away. And last year, like I said, I had a fall in the first race, the beginning of it, the British Championship, and I missed out on racing, which I think I might have had a good chance of winning, and I've finally done it this year, so I'm very, very pleased. Yeah, it's fantastic. I've finally done it.
On the grid, for this 12-lap race. And remember that lap times under 50 seconds, so very, very quick the lap times. A really hectic race, no time to make a mistake. Peter, you really can't afford to make any mistakes at the start of this one, can you?
No, because as you say, there's just too short a time, and it's quite difficult to pass around Brands Hatch when you're against very good opposition, because it's a very tight circuit, and if you start at the back of the grid, there are just too many riders to get past.
So there we go, 12 laps ahead of us, and we have a quick look at the grid as it assembles there. Fastest in pole position, Rob McElnay on the Suzuki. There is Roger Burnett on bike number 7. Well, no prizes for guessing the owner of bike number 7. That's been Barry Sheen's number for more years than I like to think about. And there's Burnett, 6th fastest, and he's there on the grid. And it appears to be a bit of a shuffle round on the change. Certainly they're not lining up as on the order that we have here, because next to him is Mick Grant on bike number 10. Bike number 19 is Rob McElnay, who, according to the grid sheet, was fastest in practice. Maybe McElnay has decided that because he's quickest, he's picked the pick of the front row grid. Well, that's his entitlement. And away they go. A hectic start. Wayne Gardner had a flyer. A tremendous start from Wayne Gardner. Roger Marshall in there as well. McElnay 3rd at the moment.
But it's Paul Lewis who's leading as they rush up to the hill to Druids. Paul Lewis, the Australian.
So Paul Lewis, the man who breaks through from the charge. Roger Marshall in there. The rest of them into Druids, then down the hill. Very, very tricky left-hand sweeping bend. It's caught 1 or 2 riders out in practice. It really is a relief that conditions are so much better here today than they were yesterday. Really unpleasant conditions yesterday, but perfect sunshine, and Lewis out in front. That looks like Gary Lingham in 2nd spot.
And it looks as though Burnett is up into 5th place already. Roger Burnett up into 5th.
Well, Roger Burnett told me that he was going to have a charge. He was going to do his very best. The leaders through, that's Paul Lewis, the young Australian, Gary Lingham, the local boy, in 2nd place. Roger Marshall is in 3rd position.
And then it's 4th is Rob McElnay and 5th Roger Burnett.
And Lingham holds the inside line, keeping off Roger Marshall. That's Trevor Nation just in picture there. He's well down. And Gary Lingham sweeps through to take the lead from Paul Lewis. Gary Lingham, 24 years of age. And Lewis looking as though he's going to try to regain the advantage, and he has. It's Lewis, the Australian from Melbourne, out in front, 24 years of age. Came over to Europe a year ago. This is his 2nd season of European racing. And Lewis leads from Gary Lingham. Roger Marshall, and Marshall goes through to 2nd place. Lingham relegated to 3rd spot, and Gary won't like that one little bit. Rob McElnay on the Project Suzuki. Well, Gary Lingham is a charger. He won't give up one little bit. Lewis leads from Marshall. McElnay goes through to 3rd place. Lingham down to 4th place. There's Roger Burnett on Barry Sheen's bike. He's in 5th position.
And Burnett is already under pressure from Steve Parrish and Wayne Gardner. So Gardner, who had a midfield start, coming through the grid pack already.
The leaders. Lewis out in front. Marshall 2nd. McElnay 3rd. Lingham 4th. They've done 2 laps. They're coming round to complete 3 out of 12. Still the same order. Bike number 4, Paul Lewis in front. Roger Marshall, number 11, in 2nd place. 19, Rob McElnay is 3rd, and number 21, number 30 rather, that's Gary Lingham in 4th position. And Burnett has lost the place. Steve Parrish, no, I beg your pardon, Burnett is still there, but Parrish he's dropped down a position. That's what I meant to say. Lewis still in front. And Gary Lingham is still there with that bunch, and to be fair to Gary Lingham, the men ahead of him all have a lot of experience and some interesting men. Lingham goes through on the inside. He uses his brand's experience, and he forces McElnay out. So Lingham's back up into 3rd place. Lewis in front. Marshall is 2nd. Lingham is 3rd, and McElnay is 4th. And McElnay should be on a quicker motorcycle, but he can't outpace Lingham going into paddock.
And Wayne Gardner on the move now. He's past Burnett and is up into 5th place and closing on McElnay.
Wayne Gardner celebrated his 25th birthday last week, and Lingham right on the tail of Roger Marshall. Lingham is certainly getting his second win now. He was eased out of second place by Marshall and McElnay. Lewis still out in front. Marshall is there, number 11, 2 times British champion in 82 and 83. Of course, won the title back when it was a somewhat different sort of competition. Lewis the leader, Marshall there second. Gary Lingham, nicknamed Slingham. Well, we hope Gary's not going to sling anything away here on the Myers Motors machine. And Lewis in front. Marshall. Lewis in front. Marshall there, and Lingham trying for inside line. Really leaning the bike over in dramatic fashion, forcing McElnay back into third place. And they pass a man who's touring back into the pits along the bottom straight, going to clear ways again. And a fine ride from Paul Lewis. He's been at the front of this cavalry charge almost from the start of the race. Lewis, Marshall, Lingham on the tight line inside. And Gardner, as you can see, he's closing on the leading 4. Half distance now in the race. And Lewis leading from Marshall, Lingham, Robert McElnay and Wayne Gardner, and 3 of them side by side going into Druids, and that was a desperate move by Rob McElnay there, Peter.
Yes, Rob tried to pass both Marshall and Lingham, and there just nowhere was there room, and Lingham moved over and just cut off his line of attack completely, and he's now dropped back a couple of yards as a result of it.
So McElnay losing ground as a result of that failed overtaking manoeuvre, and there's the first 3 men absolutely nose to tail, and it's becoming quite a dust-up behind as well. Gardner's there right with them. Any one of this 5 could win this race. Coming round
and Lingham had a huge slide then, a huge slide from Lingham, which has dropped him back really badly. The back end stepped out and he almost was catapulted over the handlebars.
A frightening moment then for Gary Lingham. Gardner, Lewis leads from Marshall, McElnay, now Gardner 4th. And Gary Lingham, who will have to try to recover his composure and also, of course, find out what problems. Roger Burnett up there as well. He's just behind Gary Lingham, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to try and quicken the pace in the closing stages. Lewis, Marshall, McElnay, Gardner and Lingham. And Gary Lingham still in there. He's winding himself up for a charge, I think. And they come closing up on a tail ender and the worst possible position. And paddock, well, everyone is safely around. And Rob McElnay uses the moment to have a go to pass Roger Marshall. And again, they come on a tail ender at Druids, and Marshall is forced out. McElnay, a fine piece of riding there by Rob McElnay, using the tail ender to his best advantage.
Yes, he put Marshall right up the back of the tail ender, and Roger had to ease off or run into him. So McElnay, very good bit of riding, and now he's only got Lewis to attack. Lewis still leading, but McElnay sizing him up and is closing on with every yard.
Lewis, the Australian, out in front. Rob McElnay from Brigg, South Humberside, there in second place and looking good. But Roger Marshall hasn't given up yet. He's still in contention. And Wayne Gardner, strange to say, is the man who's most out of it. This is the 3/4 distance, 3 laps to go in this 12-lap battle. And Lewis stretching a bit of an advantage, but McElnay, of course, will close up on the braking, going into that long, sweeping right-hander at Druids. And Gardner is closer on Marshall, definitely as well. So maybe my comment that Gardner was out of it was a little bit too hasty. Wayne Gardner, very talented young man, already, of course, clinched the...
And McElnay takes the lead. McElnay inside Lewis there. Superb piece of riding by the Work Suzuki start, and it's McElnay who now leads from Lewis.
So McElnay timing his move, and Lewis in big trouble there. The foot off the footrest. Well, oh, and goodness gracious me, he wandered right across the path of Roger Marshall and Wayne Gardner, and this could be a nasty moment because Mr. Lewis does tend to get a bit carried away on these things.
And Gardner collided, Lewis and Gardner collided. Lewis goes down, Gardner still on the bike.
Well, Lewis on his feet, very, very angry, but I don't really know why he's angry. I think he must take a fair bit of criticism for that, Peter.
I think it was really 6 to 1, half of the other. Lewis completely put off line by his slide coming across the start and finish line.
Well, we can see that incident again. And well, that's just an incident I think that they'll talk about for a long time, as you say, Peter. Maybe 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Two Australian gentlemen, Wayne Gardner and Paul Lewis, having a rare moment at Paddock, and Lewis very lucky to get away with that uninjury. So, out in front now is Rob McElnay. Roger Marshall is in second spot, and Roger Burnett is there in third position. Gary Lingham is in fourth position. Marshall recover? Can he catch McElnay, or has McElnay got this one in the bag? They're carving their way through tail enders. Some of these men very, very slow compared with the quicker men. Goodness gracious me, it's a bit tricky out there, Peter.
Yes, it is. There's an awful lot of people getting in the way, but Marshall and Burnett both past the tail enders and heading, chasing McElnay across the start and finish line now.
So, Marshall and Burnett's going to move. Burnett has gone ahead. In fact, that was the end of the race. That was the final. Well, it all happened so quickly. It's all over. McElnay, the winner, we think, and a very close thing there in second place. We shall just have to check with the judges on the official result for that one. Well, McElnay, the winner.
Roger Marshall second, with Roger
Burnett or Gary Lingham in third and fourth places, but we need the judges just to confirm on that. Great ride from Rob McElnay, Peter. Tremendous things. But let's talk again perhaps about that incident involving Wayne Gardner and Paul Lewis. It started with Lewis's big slide.
Yes, that put
and there's Rob McElnay, and the result of the race confirmed by the timekeepers there. Rob McElnay, the winner, Roger Marshall second, and Roger Burnett a very close third. Tremendous, dramatic race of the championship. Going into the decider is Rob McElnay, this man in the picture, on the Heron Suzuki. Well, I spoke to Rob a little earlier and asked what he thought his chances would be in this race. Is this right?
Yeah, it'll be a little bit more difficult because really I've got to stay on whatever happens. I can finish lower as sixth position and I can still win the champion, so it's going for a stop on, Chris.
So who do you think are the men you've got to watch out for?
Well, the same guys who's in the other race. I mean, Wayne's going to be going a lot better when he's got rid of Paul Lewis, but Roger and even young Roger on Shane's bike's going to be going well, I'm sure.
Fine, this is the first big title you're aiming for, Rob. Do you think you can do it?
I hope so, Chris. I mean, I had the British Championship set up last year and I slipped off, so anything can happen, but fingers are crossed.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
So there they are on the grid, off on the first of two warm-up laps before the start of this 15-lap battle. An entertaining and interesting scrap in prospect using the Indy circuit here at Brands Hatch, and with double points at stake in this final round. You can see there from the points table that any of those first 7 men can, and in the first 8 men in fact there, can win the title. McElnay of course leading, but Mick Grant, Steve Parrish, Graham Wood, Keith Ewan and Wayne Gardner, plus Roger Burnett, all in with a chance if they can score 30 points for winning, can take the title. Joey Dunlop not competing here today, the TT Formula 1 World Champion back home in Northern Ireland. Well, Barry Sheen, an interesting battle. Of course, you're a little bit biased, I suppose.
Well, I am a little bit biased because young Roger Burnett's riding the bike I've been riding all the year. So obviously, I'd like to see him do really well. But on the other hand, I'd like to see Rob McElnay win the NCM Masters thing, because last year, for example, he was leading the championship, one of the championships, and he fell off. So it'd be nice to see him win it.
Well, we shall just have to wait and see. It's one of these races, of course, and the sort of circuit where the start is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's only a 15-lap race. It may sound a lot, but it only takes about 13 minutes. And if you're not in the hunt on the first lap, then you've really got to struggle. And Brands is not the easiest circuit to pass on. And the thing to bear in mind is the fact that the leading probably 6 or 7 guys are all going to be going within 100th of a second of one another. So if you see a chance, you've got to take it, because you very rarely get the same chance again around short circuit at Brands.
Well, there they go, and the end of the second lap then. They'll be coming round to form up on the grid for the start of this 15-lapper. Before that happens, Barry, perhaps I could just ask you what the qualities you saw in Roger Burnett to give him this chance.
Well, he's a young guy. He's only been racing for 3 years, and when you bear in mind everybody on the grid, the leading guys on the grid, I think the shortest time they've been racing is probably Rob McElnay, which is about 7 or 8 years. And he's a presentable young guy, and he shows a lot of promise. He does things the right way, and I just wish him all the best, really.
And there is Roger Burnett on the very, very familiar and famous number 7, the Barry Sheene. Ken Fletcher there, of course, the Australian mechanic who's been doing his bit for Barry for the past 2 or 3 seasons. A good man to have in the pits, Ken, Barry?
Yeah, really, more especially today, because anything that Roger wants to know, Ken's worked for me for 6 or 7 years now, and he's all clued up, you know, so therefore it's much easier for Roger to any problems that he's got, it's very easy to sort out. Now,
so, the front row of the grid then, Roger Burnett on number 7, Steve Parrish on bike number 6. Next to him, number 16, Keith Ewan, hoping to wrap the season up on a high note. Number 10, Mick Grant, of course, the Yorkshireman. Number 19, Rob McElnay. And McElnay, of course, the man who leads the championship in the background. Number 4, Mark Sall. And number 11 there, Roger Marshall. And away they go, up on this 15-lapper. And that looked a little bit like Simon Buckmaster, who charged into the lead, but we shall wait to pick that up. They're down through Paddock Bend, a very, very fast downhill sweeping corner, and somebody in trouble almost immediately. The leaders going around Druids. The downhill into the left-hander along bottom straight. That looks like Rob McElnay in 2nd place. McElnay in 2nd spot there.
And that's Gardner coming up in 3rd, and there's a bit of a needle match between Wayne and Rob, because they're both competing in the Grand Prix, so therefore they both want to beat one another.
Well, absolutely, both McElnay and Gardner wanting to do well in the Grand Prix next year, both determined and very ruthless. There's Gardner on McElnay's tail.
I did a bit of a Murray Walker then. In actual fact, Roger Marshall in 3rd place.
Well, a mistake anyone can make, because of course it's similar leathers, and in fact the only difference is the crash helmet, and that difference a little bit difficult to see who it is, but out in front still at the moment, as we suspected, Simon Buckmaster, who rocketed into the lead on the Duckham Suzuki, but Buckmaster chops off.
Oh, Roger.
And Roger Marshall frightening his near neighbour Rob McElnay there. Well, it's building up into a dice. Simon Buckmaster, this is the finest ride young Simon's had, 22 years of age, from Potter's Bar on the Duckham Suzuki, having a real charge, but there's 3 of them going through. McElnay's the bravest of those 3. Roger Marshall on the inside, but Simon Buckmaster hangs on to 2nd spot. McElnay on the Suzuki, the factory Suzuki, leading Simon Buckmaster. Then it's Roger Marshall there in 3rd spot. And I think that was Lingham in 5th place.
In actual fact, Gardner's now up to 4th place.
So the 2 Honda GB riders, and Marshall again going through on the inside of Buckmaster. So poor old Simon's lost another spot. McElnay leads from Marshall, Buckmaster, Gardner. And here they come round to complete the 3rd lap in this 15-lap battle. McElnay still in front.
Simon Buckmaster's struggling because he's on quite an old bike that looks pretty much outpaced. I would say the only slower bike in the race is that one of Steve Parrish. So don't forget, all the bikes that are up the front there are the the best that Britain can offer. So for Buckmaster to be where he was, he's not doing bad at all.
And Gary Lingham there, moving up a place. That's Trevor Nation just going through. Well, Trevor not had the best of seasons, really. Ups and downs, a tremendous TT with 2 broken collarbones in various international events around Europe has made life difficult for Trevor Nation, but no problems at the moment for Rob McElnay. And, of course, with a 20-point margin, he can afford to take things relatively easily, except there's a big pack breathing down the back of his neck. Roger Marshall is there in 2nd place. Wayne Gardner is 3rd, and Gary Lingham is 4th. And Gary Lingham is a charger at any place, but particularly here at Brands Hatch. Lingham, who comes from Eltham, just up the road. When he's not racing, he works in his father's butcher's business. And Lingham is mixing it with
Lingham, I don't believe how brave Gary Lingham is. Sorry about that, Chuck.
Well, I don't think anyone's ever doubted Gary Lingham's bravery or really ever doubted his skill. He's a very hard-riding young man. Unfortunately, he's a butcher, as I say, by profession, and in the past he's been a bit of a butcher working on motorbikes, and that's always delayed him a bit.
Gardner's up in the 2nd spot now, and that the last corner into Clearways is one of Gardner's hot spots, and that could be vitally important on the last lap, because if the distance between Rob McElnay and Wayne Gardner is what it is now, I think that Rob could be in for a surprise.
And there is Roger Burnett at the moment, and a quick look at the thing. He's in 10th place at the moment as well. Still time for Roger to do something about that, Barry?
No, I would very much doubt it, because he didn't get a good start, and as I say, once you get a bad start on this place, you can forget it.
And we're back now with the leaders, and it's turning into a 5-way dice, and the 5th man who's joining them.
I will put money down. Oh no, he's beaten me to it. I was going to say that the Gardner gets in front on this lap.
Well, Steve Parrish is up there as well, so it's a slow bike isn't that much of a liability, Barry.
Well, no, I mean, round here, Stevie's very, very good, and there's no 2 ways about it. Earlier on, you were saying that Rob McElnay might sit back and take things easy because of the championship. I don't think so, because I think Rob would like to win this as a moral victory, because he's been bloody good this year in the Grand Prix. And his hot competition, if you like, in the Grand Prix is Wayne Gardner. So he's out to have a go.
Gardner the leader, Rob McElnay in 2nd place. Behind him is Roger Marshall. Then it's Gary Lingham, and Lingham goes through on the inside, so Marshall is down to 4th place now. And Lingham looked in trouble, made a bit of a mess going into bottom bend, I think.
I think what he did, he nipped on the inside and made a muff of the gear change, maybe missed a gear. So I think that's all it was, no engine trouble.
Gardner the leader, Rob McElnay in 2nd place now. Roger Marshall is in 3rd spot. Gary Lingham is behind Steve Parrish in 4th and 5th places. So 8 laps to go in this Masters decider. Gardner on the Honda GB machine. Gardner, who's had a tremendous Grand Prix season this year.
I think this could be a bit tricky now, because they're coming up behind a back marker, and unless, we've lost the picture, but unless we, oh yes, they got through okay. Because it's vitally important, it's such a short circuit that when you catch the back markers, you've got to take the chance when you get it to get through, because if not, they can lose you an enormous amount of time.
There's the first 3 men in picture, and it really is very close indeed. Gardner still out in front on bike number 8. Then Rob McElnay, number 19. Roger Marshall, number 11. Parrish is still there. Chin on the tank. Oh, Stavros is trying his best, Barry.
Well, that whole thing is riding. You have to have your chin on the tank. It's so slow, really, but he's doing a good job.
And Gardner forced wide there as they go past the tail ender. No problems, though, into Druids. And Marshall looked as though he was going to have a go around the outside of McElnay. And Gary Lingham again has given poor old Barry here another cardiac event.
I can't believe it, honestly. I need a Valium before I watch him ride already.
And there is Roger Burnett. He's at the front of that 2nd group. He's in 7th place at the moment. Roger Burnett leading Mark Salbach, number 4.
I think as far as Roger is concerned, he's having a good steady ride. The road wasn't built in a day, and it's best to send it and not bend it. That's the moral of the story. Well,
I don't think anyone can complain of Roger Burnett's performance today the difference between the bike that he's been riding on the European Championships, which is basically a 3-year-old motorcycle.
Well, yeah, it's a 3-year-old man. Oh, right, now we're getting... The whole business is hotting up here now. I think that as it gets towards the end of the race, we're going to see a really hot battle between Wayne and Rob. Not that it's not hot at the moment, but they both really want to win this very, very badly, so stay tuned.
Well, indeed, and the pace, although it is quite quick, isn't as quick as they did in practice. The best lap so far, 50.4, but they were doing 49s in practice, Barry.
I think that's down to the wind, because it's extremely windy out there.
A nasty moment there for Wayne Gardner, a real twitch, but he controls it, but it gave McElnay a chance to close the gap. Gardner from McElnay, Roger Marshall still there, far from a disinterested spectator. He's very much in the hunt. Steve Parrish is there in 4th place behind, but this is the battle.
If Roger stays up really close with Wayne and Rob, they can be so interested in one another that good old Roger, I mean, he's been racing for a long time and he's no Dumbo by any stretch of the imagination. I think he could steal the march. It should be interesting anyway.
10 laps completed then. They're on the 11th of this 15-lap battle. Gardner, McElnay and Marshall. Honda, in fact, Honda making a Suzuki sandwich there. The Suzuki in the form of Ron McElnay's bike, the filling in this Honda sandwich. Wayne Gardner, who has said that if he can't come up with the big sponsorship deal that he needs, he may even retire. And Gardner beginning to wind up the wick. Gardner opening the gap. McElnay really will have to do something if he wants to get back on terms. And Marshall's right on McElnay's tyre tracks.
Well, yeah, there's only how many laps to go now?
4 laps to go.
4 laps to go. And he's got to stay really up with him. Because if he doesn't, I mean, you lose any amount of ground there. It is a real struggle to catch it up.
Gardner, McElnay and Marshall, no change, and a corny, well-used motoring cliches that a blanket could cover them, but really could in this case.
Roger Bennett here is up in the 4th position, which I think is an astronomical feat, because when, as I say, when you get a bad start around here, you really do have to struggle. And if he's in 4th, he has done great.
Well, Burnett there in 4th place, Brigham in 5th spot.
Rob McElnay's struck trouble.
McElnay is out, he's got some sort of mechanical problem.
Oh, that's
and that really is bad luck, and that means we're going to easily have a different situation for this championship decider, and really it's going to be one of these mathematical problems to try to work it all out at the end, because Rob McElnay needed to win. The winner will pick up 30 points.
That is extremely bad luck on Rob's behalf.
Rob was saying before the race he had to finish in the first 6. Well, he's not going to finish. His hip problems. Wayne Gardner is leading. He will take his score to 54. Looking to see where Mick Grant is. Mick Grant is in 9th place. That will give him 4 points, making him on 54. So we could have a tie at the moment. It's Gardner leading from Marshall, Roger Bennett in 3rd place.
I just cannot believe, I mean, I am totally impressed with Roger Bennett. He's come from the back of the field and he's up now. If it was only another 5 laps, we could see him challenging for the lead. I mean, that is brilliant. In actual fact, if he could get in front of
13 laps completed anyway, they'll be coming around to complete the 14th, then they'll be on their last lap. And there is Gardner, and really it's going to be a mathematician's job to work out the championship positions. As I say, Gardner will get 30 for winning this. That will take him to 54. Granty is in 9th place. He'll get 4 points for finishing 9th. And that will put those 2 level.
Roger
Gardner.
Bennett's really closing on Roger Marshall now. Look.
Well, so he's, as you say, a few more laps and it could well have been very different. Burnett right on Marshall. Can he have 2nd place? Is Roger Burnett going to snatch 2nd place from Roger Marshall? Is Wayne Gardner going to win this one? And will those 30 points be enough to win in the title? Well, we shall soon see, and we shall have to do the mathematics just as soon as we can. Gardner there. This is the last lap. It's checkered flag time when they come round now. Round clearways for the last time. Gardner can see the flag. Marshall's there. Burnett's going to get third, and what a tremendous performance. There's the checkered flag. Gardner, the winner of this race. Roger Marshall finished in second place. Roger Burnett, a tremendous third. That's his third place of the meeting, and you really can't ask for much better than that. And we'll have a quick rundown of the rest just as soon as we can. Tremendous performance.
I don't know what this point score is, but if Rob McElnay doesn't win it, I think that is all you can say is diabolical luck on his behalf, really.
And down in the pits, waiting to talk to Rob McElnay, is Andrew Marriott.
Rob, you're obviously a very disappointed man. Wayne Gardner's here as well. What happened to you?
Well, basically disappointed. I felt good. I was just following Wayne around. I thought this is it, my first championship, and then obviously not. The engine seized with 3 laps to go. I couldn't believe it. I feel like crying.
Well, Wayne, you did it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rob.
Well,
I had the same thing last year.
what happened to your race? Going very well up front there?
Yeah, I was really pleased. I knew what Rob was up to. He was going to follow me and possibly try and beat me. I wasn't sure, but even finished second, he had the championship. And I kept going the last 2 laps. I looked around and I couldn't see number 19 anywhere, so I was sort of thought, well, he must have dropped back to 3rd or 4th. I looked around next to him, I seen him coming in down the pit and I thought, unlucky for Rob, but it was fortunate for me. And I thought no chance of winning the championship. I just come for the ride and we're doing tyre testing, like I said. But it worked out better than last year, because I come in, I was in the same sort of predicament as Rob, where I had the championship just about in the bag, and I went home with none, so I know exactly how he feels. And I come here not expecting to win anything, and I come home with one. So I was very, very lucky, but that's the way racing is, you know. It's great.
OK, well, a very happy Wayne Gardner with me, a disappointed Rob McElnay.
Yeah.
Back to you, Chris Carter.
So the final outcome of this year's Motorcycle News Masters Series, the winner, Australian Wayne Gardner with 54 points, second, Rob McElnay with 50, and third, Roger Burnett on 42. Well, there are some